Hello again, everybody. It's again time for another edition. Caught me doing something. Another edition of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. We're covering Mid-South Wrestling. We're going to be doing episode 250. It was originally aired June the 21st of 1984. One of the biggest years in wrestling for Mid-South Wrestling, and we're going to start it off today. With me right now is my brother, the founder of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out, Mr. Brent West. Welcome, Brent.
Hello, how you doing? This was a great episode of Mid-South Wrestling.
This was right after the Superdome Wrestling Extravaganza, so they had a lot to talk about, a lot to get ready for new stuff. And we begin by announcing with an interview with Cowboy Bill Watts with Terry Taylor and Steve Dr. Death Williams, and they cover the match in which Terry Taylor wins the Mid-South television title from Crusher Khrushchev after months of work on it. He finally wins it at the Superdome, so they review the match. And this begins the situation, the altercation, if you will, between Steve Dr. Death Williams and Terry Taylor, when Terry Taylor asked him for his Mid-South television title medal, which Steve Dr. Death Williams had taken from Crusher Khrushchev weeks before. And, of course, Steve said, "Oh, I have it. Don't worry about it. I'll get it to you just as soon as I can." And then, of course, Taylor said, "Well, I'm sure you will. Everybody just knows that I'm the Mid-South television champion." And that was that. Tremendous, and it sets the stage for what's about to happen.
Yeah, and Buddy Landell comes out during this interview.
Absolutely, yeah. Buddy Landell makes his way out right before all this gets started, and he's talking about how the Junkyard Dog and Sonny King humiliated him by doing a tar and feather. So on this program, he thinks he's got somebody else as an opponent, but he wants the Junkyard Dog if the dog has any guts, and that match comes up later on in the program. Absolutely tremendous. Buddy looked great. Yes. I love it because he comes right out in the middle of Taylor and Dr. Death standing right there, and Watts said, "What in the world do you want? Somebody get this guy out of here." I love that. I just love that part.
It was good stuff.
Really good. And Buddy was he was at the top of his game as far as I'm concerned. I mean, really. I'm wondering if he could have been that single top guy. Star guy.
You know, I think he could have. I think if they would have just given him the opportunity where he started just beating people, because he put him with Butch Reed, I think it made him go down a little bit. But I think they could have took him away from Butch Reed and let him get a lot of wins and stuff. I believe Buddy Landell could have been a top wrestler there. There's no doubt. I think he could be a main event star.
Exactly. And of course, Buddy, tremendous talent. However, he does have his demons, as all of us do.
I think he was the only person that actually paid Bill Watts to work.
Yeah, fine after fine. You're absolutely right about that. Woo, I'm telling you. Then we get to the first match, and I'm talking about they show the match from the Superdome. The Rock and Roll Express versus Midnight Express, Mid-South Tag Team Championship on the line. No disqualification. Jim Duggan handcuffed to Jimmy Cornette, and boy, that was a great match. Absolutely fantastic. Nothing's funnier than watching Jim Duggan snatch and pull Cornette from pillar to post on the outside.
And Jim Duggan was dressed to the T's that night.
Yeah, he was dressed.
Had his tuxedo on.
And he would run down the ring apron as if he wasn't even handcuffed to, or run down the ringside. He didn't even act like he was even handcuffed. And Cornette was just being dragged around. It was hilarious. It was fantastic. And a great match. Great match with the Rock and Roll, as normal with Rock and Roll at Midnight Express. In the end, it was Wendy Richter who comes out and ethers Jim Duggan, giving the opportunity for Dennis Conner to get a hold of the tennis racket, hitting Ricky Morton, with Bobby Eaton getting the final 1, 2, 3 count. Midnight Express over in the arena, the Superdome. But this leads to other matches that are coming up all over. And like we've always said, the Superdome wasn't the end of anything, just the beginning.
Yes. Absolutely.
And of course, sets up for the later eventuality of Duggan against the Midnight Express and Cornette's future bodyguard. We will talk about that in weeks to come. Then we got the first glimpse of the Super Date from the Superdome. Now, in that, I was asking how many entries at one point that they think they had. Jim Ross announced that they had about 2,000 entries for the Super Date at the Superdome, and Watts said that even after they lost the match, they still went out and gave these ladies a great time, and Jim Ross and his wife chaperoned the event. And I think that turned out pretty successful for that endeavor. Then we have a big match. Wendy Richter, just after her ethering Jim Duggan, is against Velvet McIntyre. And Velvet McIntyre, co-holder of the Women's World Championship. Tremendous match. Absolutely solid. Just a solid match. And really, you could see Wendy Richter really, she had it. Whatever you want to call it, she had it. Yes. And it was quite on display for all to see. In the end, Wendy Richter wins the match over Velvet McIntyre with a double leg drop.
That was a great match.
It was absolutely a fantastic match. Each woman complimented each other tremendously. And for television, it really highlighted the women's contribution and what they could do in the ring, especially with the athleticism of Wendy Richter and Velvet McIntyre in that match. Yeah. Then we had the big one. Ernie Ladd returns in a handicap match against Mark Reagan and Greg Brown. And Ernie, always impressive. He just towered over these guys. I mean, he didn't do the interview this time, and I love Ernie Ladd when he's talking. But Ernie Ladd in this case, he just totally dominated. Absolutely dominated, and catches the lady. In the end, catches, I believe it was Greg Brown with a double leg drop, and Greg was taking it whether he wanted to or not. If you watch the video,
he did. Ernie was beating both of them guys up, and and I always thought when I was watching this match, if Ernie Ladd really wanted to really do them guys damage, he could have done damage to both them boys.
It looked like he held back.
I think he did.
It really looked like he held back. And like I said, Brown was trying to come up off the mat, and before he lowered, he had two big legs up on top of him from Ernie Ladd, and that was the end of it. 1, 2, 3, and Ernie Ladd then ends up winning that. In that, Bill Watts, I think, mentioned that Ernie Ladd was looking for the North American Championship, which we'll cover in the next episode. Then we have the 6-man tag team match, and what a 6-man tag team.
Oh, that match was great.
Oh, my goodness. You have Crusher Khrushchev, Pat Rose, and Barry Orton against the Rock and Roll Express and Jim Duggan. And when you check the difference of the crowd, the response of the crowd during the match, before the match, during this whole thing, the crowd was into it from beginning to end, and it shows you just how over the Rock and Roll Express and Jim Duggan was.
Not only that, but it showed how much of a great wrestler Pat Rose was.
Exactly.
It showed how good Crusher Khrushchev was, and really Barry Orton doesn't get the respect he should deserve of how good all three of those people were in that match.
It was an awesome match, ending up with a double drop kick to Crusher Khrushchev, double drop kick to Pat Rose. And then it's poor Barry Orton. Oh, it's the worst of it. Big, gigantic spear off the second rope from Jim Duggan. It was. Whew.
And when he gave that spear, his elbow connected to Barry Orton. If people watch that on the video, he connects with Barry Orton and knocks his running lights out. I mean, he goes down hard.
Man,
and you can see when he goes to pin him, Jim Duggan's going, he's saying, sorry, man.
Right. Oh, man.
Him for a loop.
Yeah, that was good. Check out those slow motions after the matches, and the sip comes up in the bumpers. They're awesome, and they'll show what impact. That was Watts' thing. He loved the impact, no matter what. Then we had the last match, Buddy Landell against the Junkyard Dog. And, of course, at that point, Landell was out there, and, of course, we were wondering who was going to come. And then the music starts, and then Boyd Pierce introduces the Junkyard Dog. Crowd goes nuts, as normal. And another great match. Landell really, really, I mean, he put his all into this. He really put his all into it. About right at the beginning of the match, for a few moves, then here comes Butch Reed, and automatically everybody knows what's about to happen. I mean, the crowd's there, the people are beginning to understand. In the end, Reed ends up tripping the Junkyard Dog. Junkyard Dog jumps up, sees Reed on the outside, and slaps Reed. He goes down. Landell comes from behind, tries to roll him up, Landale has then reversed his Junkyard Dog powers out, runs Reed into Buddy Landale. They go down in the end. It's the Junkyard Dog. Finally, he's got him up, rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. And then here comes Ernie Ladd and Butch Reed, and Landale about to double up on the Junkyard Dog. And then comes Sonny King. People just go nuts. He's going to attack him with a mic stand.
Attack him
with a mic stand, Sonny King. That's good stuff. Good stuff. And like I said, think about it. I think it was 36 years. 36 years since these originally aired. And like I said, they still hold up today. They really do. They really and truly do. Then the last match features a new tag team that's coming. And I'm talking about the fantastic Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers. They face Bob Owen and Ed Siegel. And right off the bat, I want to talk about just real quick. In the beginning, when we were talking with Bill Dundee, he said that Bill Watts actually looked at the fabulous ones to come in. Now, my question is, how did the Fantastics in there when Bill Watts was looking at the fabulous ones? Now, I'll have to ask this question when we get Bill back on again. Number one, is there problems with the fabulous ones and Bill, or would he have much rather have had Tommy, or did Jarrett not want to give them up? That's my two questions. I don't know the answer to either one, but it just seems odd that here we have Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers when Bill just said, a few weeks ago on this program where actually Watts was looking at the fabulous ones. So anyway, we had the Fantastics. They were in the ring. Tremendous match. Ends up with Tommy Rogers hitting him with the power slam. Tremendous action. Super quick. Fulton and Rogers, I don't think really looked any better than they did on this particular match.
One thing I noticed in this match was the poor old guy. I don't know which one it was, but man, he about fell out of the.
That was Ed Siegel. Yeah,
he about falls out the ring, and then when they go to pick him up, they're supposed to go into something, and I guess he just drops them and he pins them.
I believe that was supposed to be a power slam, and it ended up being a hip toss. I don't. Well. It
was not greatly done. You would have thought as Bill Watts would have made them redo that match. I guess he felt like it was the end of the night. He was ready to go home.
Yeah, I guess so. Then they come over for an interview, and you'll notice in this interview that Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers are calling themselves the Fantastic Ones, which, of course, Bobby Fulton was one of the Fantastic Ones with Terry Taylor the year before with Georgia Championship Wrestling Superstars when they were doing it in Georgia. So, but yeah, you would know. I automatically noticed that both Rogers and Fulton were calling themselves fantastic. And of course, they are fantastic. They really are. We say fantastic. They are. Are fantastic.
Yeah, I've always thought they were great. I thought they had great matches with. Rock and Roll and the Midnight had great matches, but the Midnight and the Fantastics had superb matches. I thought they had better matches than Rock and Roll.
Sure, and then the Fantastic is Bill Dundee and Dutch Mantel. Equally as great. But yeah, what an hour. Look at that. That was everything in 1 hour, ladies and gentlemen. It was nonstop action from the time it started to the time it ended. And they were not finished by no stretch of the imaginations, because think about it. You're only seeing part. When you're watching these shows, you're only seeing part of it. You're not seeing the interviews and the events coming up in the local towns. And that really set the tone in lots of cases with a lot of these matches, talking to the wrestlers in these individual markets. It's a tremendous show. I really, really love reliving every last one of those. And we just so happen to be in the audience during while these.
Yes, and I want everyone to know, if you enjoy these videos, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And we hope you enjoyed this episode of Mid-South Wrestling, and we'll be back with more. And we thank you, and so long until the next episode.